Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I've been asked by this fine gentleman right here, how you doing, to go over the Ellie talents as well, the elemental shaman talents coming with Legion. Now, I want to start this with a question he also asked. He was asking about damage and what I think it's going to be like in Legion, because in the beginning release of WoD, Enhanced Shaman was pretty bad. I mean, you were hitting really quickly, but the numbers were really small. I mean, as the expansion went on, we got much needed buffs, but right now I think it's a little too much, because that's why Turbo is the way it is. We can basically just run over any comp we want. It's one of the more volatile comps, meaning if we're hitting something and it's like sort of an even fight, like he's being healed, I'm keeping up with purges, we're doing damage, we can switch and either kill them immediately or get cooldowns. Like if we're facing a mirror and we swap to Druid and we get it in a stun as well, that Druid is probably dead within the 3 to 4 seconds. So the way it looks right now, I know the numbers are kind of weird, but with all of the talents and the way they look, it looks like Enhance is going to be able to deal a ton of damage, especially with that 5-second stun for setup. Once you have like all the Maelstrom you need, and even if you get some procs and stuff, you have a ton of haste buffs from Feral Spirits, from Totems, which ultimately increases your physical damage based off of whatever talent or ability you get. You can deal AoE if you need to, which will then in turn enhance your weapons, increasing your damage and partner damage. You have damage coming from Rock Biter, which can ultimately be spammed and increase your attack bar by 20%, which is pretty substantial if you get that talent. You have Flame Tongue, which again, both of those will enhance your weapons, increasing your damage further. And you have Storm Strike, which it looks like it's going to be dealing a ton of damage with Storm Fury procs. You're going to be able to spam this like crazy. If you have a full Maelstrom bar and they get in a stun and you have a proc, you're going to be dealing a ton of damage because you're going to be able to spam and plow damage. But this video is about Ellie, so I'm going to go over the talents now. So the Path of Flame, the damage dealt by Flame Shock and Lava Burst increased by 10%. Okay, just a straight up damage burst. The cooldown of your summon Ellies is reduced by 60 seconds. So Fire Ellie, it's not a totem anymore. When you summon the elemental, it's not tied to a totem, it's just a pet that you get. I'm not sure how long it lasts. It may last a minute, who knows? Because it doesn't actually say, but it does for 15 seconds after summoning. Your Maelstrom generation is increased by 100%. That's a lot. That's pretty substantial, right? Maelstrom Totem. 5 health near the target. I hope that gets changed. Repeatedly attacks the target, dealing nature damage. Every time the Maelstrom Totem attacks, it generates Maelstrom. So there's more Maelstrom generation, and it looks like a better Searing Totem, basically, on a 30-second cooldown. Pretty cool. And a 40-yard range. That's a lot. Gust of Wind is the same, but they added Fleet of Foot. For 6 seconds after leaving Ghost Wolf, you continue to move 20% faster. 20% isn't that big for movement speed, especially with all of the slows in the game. And it doesn't seem that viable in PvP with all the slows that are in the game, but... Now, I didn't see Enhance get Ellie Blast. I wonder where that's going to go. It doesn't say we can have it here, but I'm not sure if that still applies. But it's the same thing as always. You just deal a bunch of damage and you get a big buff. 2-second cast is pretty long, though. Echo of Elements. Now, it only applies to Lava Burst. I'm pretty sure that in WoD it applies to other things as well with Earthquake, but it says that you have 3 charges, and that's a lot. If you could just hit 3 Lava Bursts in a row, especially with their mastery, if you're lucky and you get good RNG procs, you can plow some damage. Increases the chance you'll get Lava Surge by 10%. That's pretty cool. It doesn't really give you a flat percentage here, but a 10% chance every time you have a Flame Shock. That's pretty good. And if you couple that with Echo of Elements, you can just literally cast nothing but Lava Bursts. Sons of Flame. Your greater fire elemental is joined by 2 Sons of Flame who attack your target. I don't know how good this is going to be. It doesn't say their damage, but it's definitely worth testing out. If you have 3 elementals, it looks like you can be able to do a lot of damage without even touching them. Magnitude. Anytime a target is staying in Earthquake with Flame Shock, gouts of magma will erupt at their feet, dealing extra damage. That seems pretty cool. That's a cool concept, because I know that Earthquake is a pretty huge spell for Ellie Shamans right now, and Flame Shock is good for any Shaman spec. But if you're combining both of them, and I just wonder how the damage is going to be. Is it going to like hit the target? Is it going to like just shoot out and go somewhere and like maybe hit somebody? Is it going to be an AoE? Because if it is, I mean, it may break CC. If it's something you can't control where it just kind of shoots up and goes in a direction, it's a little risky to run. But if it deals damage to a target or even just a small AoE on that target who has the Flame Shock on them, it looks pretty good. That's going to make them go on the run because they're going to have to get out of every single Earthquake quick. Lightning Rod. 40-yard range on a 1-minute cooldown. You mark the target, they become a Lightning Rod, causing your nature damage spells to deal 20% more damage and also 500 damage to enemies within 20 yards. Okay, so this is interesting. So you mark a target, you deal more nature damage to them and anyone else around them. Now, it seems like with the way that you can go with the spec, you can sort of do more fire damage with Lava Burst and more procs and stuff, or you can do more like nature damage. Storm Ellie, same thing as before. You just summon an Ellie and it basically heals you with all the damage that it done. Now this is interesting. For both Ellie and Enhance, I'm not really sure how the unbobbing cooldowns thing is going to work because Ascendance is just a straight up talent. So I don't really know what cooldowns we have to pop right now, and I'm not really going to speculate on it because there's probably something you get because you can't just not have cooldowns. And it seems like you were going to be forced to choose which one you actually want. Now for PvP, I don't think Ascendance is going to be actually viable because a 10-minute cooldown, first off, you're not even allowed to use 10-minute cooldowns, and that's way too long. If you don't kill them in that 60 seconds, you're just going to be like pretty gimped. It seems like a pretty big all or nothing card. I mean, if you go the full Lava Burst, Lava Surge proc thing, and then go Ascendance, it says Lava Burst has no cooldown, you could literally spam Lava Burst. But if you get stunned or feared or CC'd, or they just line you, that's like half the cooldown gone. And that's a 10-minute cooldown. So I'm definitely waiting for some sort of cooldown looking thing, spell to come for Shamans, but I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed for that. Primal Ellie's the same, but Totemic Fury on a 3-minute cooldown. You summon 3 totems for 30 seconds, and each one does something different. So Earth Totem attacks your target and increases damage dealt by Earth Shock by 50%. That's a lot. Fire Totem also attacks your target, increases the crit chance of Lava Burst by 100%. That's crazy. And Lightning Totem, it attacks your target as well and reduces the cast time of Lightning Bolt. This is nuts. That's awesome. That's so good. Basically, if you are allowed to spam cast things and you drop this, it's not only attacking your target for you, but you can do crazy damage. If you're casting lightning bolts and shooting out lava bursts every time you get a proc, this is going to deal some crazy damage. Okay, now onto the PvP talents. Now the top 3 layers are the same. I was wrong. The top 4 are the same. Fire and Ice. Frost Shock now deals 200% additional damage, and Flame Shock's periodic damage generates 3 Maelstrom. In addition, they no longer cost Maelstrom to cast. That's pretty cool. They don't have a cooldown, but they obviously have to take some resource. Increases your maximum Maelstrom by 50, so if you get a full Maelstrom bar, it allows you to deal more damage. Your Lava Burst deals 200% additional damage and generates Maelstrom when it deals damage. This replaces Lava Surge. Oh, okay. I was going to say, holy crap, Lava Burst dealing double damage and generating a ton of Maelstrom? That's crazy, but if you're not going to be, it's not going to be instant, then that's really interesting. That definitely allows for a ton of damage output, because I'm pretty sure you're going to be using those Maelstroms for either healing, really big shocks, but to not have instant Lava Burst, that's relying heavily on having a bunch of haste so you can actually get the casts out. That's interesting. I wonder how that's going to play out. Oh, that's cool. Earth Fury. Casting 100 Maelstrom Earth Shock will stun the target for 2 seconds. So yeah, if you use all of your Maelstrom for an Earth Shock, you get a stun. That's pretty cool. Traveling Storms. Your Thunderstorm can be cast on an ally, and its cooldown is reduced by 15 seconds. Interesting. That puts it on a 30-second cooldown. That's pretty cool. That would make it so you can stand wherever you want to and then throw it on an ally, like a healer or something that's being jumped on by a TSG, and knock everybody away. That's pretty cool. Or Lightning Lasso. Grips the target in lightning, stunning the target and dealing damage. Stunning the target and dealing damage over 8 seconds on a 30-second cooldown. I don't know. I feel like this one kind of takes the cake. It's just the cooldown you get on a 30-second cooldown. It'll deal damage and stun them. And it says grips the target in lightning. I don't know if it pulls it to you or it just kind of hits them, but that means you don't have to use all your Maelstrom for an Earth Shock. I think the stun will probably last longer than 2 seconds or at 2 seconds, but it still deals damage. And you're not using your Thunderstorm for somebody else. I mean, you can still go over to your healer and use Thunderstorm. That's cool. I'm really interested to see how these talents are going to be like coupled and comboed and stuff, because it looks like you can go a couple of routes that are really cool. You can go for like really hard-hitting, Maelstrom intensive abilities, or really cast heavy, proc heavy type RNG, and it looks really cool. I like how if you go certain talents and certain paths, you can favor nature damage over lava burst and vice versa. But I do wonder how Maelstrom is going to be gained for Ellie, because with Enhance, you can just kind of spam Rock Biter or Flame Tongue, but with Ellie, you're going to have to be casting lightning bolts and stuff. I really do think, though, that after looking at all these talents, looking at Ellie's, if they have a full Maelstrom bar, you're going to have to friggin' run. So thank you, Wakko. I'm not really sure how to say your name, but I hope I answered your question to some certain extent. Again, these things are going to change eventually. The numbers aren't even out yet, so we don't really know how effective each one of these is going to be. But it's still fun to speculate and make theories and stuff. And I mean, looking at them, it looks like you can go a couple of really cool paths. So if you have any more questions, let me know. And thank you for watching the video. Have a good one. Pretty cool.